Hi, it's me, Jazzy. I'm back with another tech-related video, and today I'm taking a look at a most unusual PC. It's a Nexcom 3600 P2E, and is a PC that's used for industrial or commercial applications. It's a fanless design in an aluminium case, so the whole case is a huge heatsink to dissipate heat away from the CPU. How effective that is, I don't know, but we're going to find out. Now, the first thing I will say is it's rather heavy. The whole case is made of aluminium. The bottom, the top, the whole thing is just all made of aluminium, really well machined, and it's certainly very heavy. I don't know what the weight of this is, but it's quite a hefty beast, and it's also got quite a good spec. This came in several different iterations. This one's got an Intel Core i3 3120ME running at 2.4 gigahertz with the turbo disabled. Now, it's only a dual core processor, so we'll see what the performance is going to be like on this. But it's certainly got plenty of I/O. On the front, it's got two USB 3.0s, two display ports, two little holes there for antenna, so you can actually put a Wi-Fi card in this and have antenna out the front there. And it's even got a SIM slot as well. On the back, it gets even better. Certainly plenty of I/O here. You've got your DC in there, and this thing will run from anything from 9 volts to 30 volts. So you can see it's even suitable for applications in vehicles and things. So this is a very, very versatile little computer. Got various RS-232s and COM ports on the back there. You've got two Intel Gigabit Ethernet LAN ports, very handy. Two USB 3s, two USB 2s. You've got VGA, DVI-D, and you've got your audio in and out. And you've got room for expansion, as you can see from the slots there. This will take a PCI and a PCI Express card. As far as RAM goes, this has two DDR3 SODIMM sockets, supports up to 8 gig of DDR3 or DDR3L running at 1333 or 1600. For storage, all it's got is one 2.5-inch SATA drive slot. So I'm gonna pop an SSD in this and see if we can get anything out of it. It was designed to run on Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, or even Windows 10. Indeed, it has the previous Windows 10 license sticker on the bottom still. I'll most likely put some version of Linux on it just to test it, but I will be really interested to see what the performance is like and what are the thermals like without a fan. Does this massive heatsink do its job? Well, it certainly weighs a ton. So I reckon now we've had a look at the spec of the unit, let's get the cover off and see what goodies we can find inside. Right, so it looks like this just comes off. Now, the first question is going to be, what are these really random looking screw heads? These are not normal screw heads, are they? They're like a star drive security screw. All right, well, let's try my box of many driver bits. Do I have something that's going to fit this? Oh, these look like they might do the trick. Look. Oh, I think we have a winner. Okay, awesome. See, I knew this kit would come in handy one day. My little driver. Here we go. Right. All right. I'm intrigued to see the layout of this inside. I really am. I'm always curious about these random industrial looking PCs you see come up on eBay. Generally, they're very much out of my price range. So this one was ridiculously cheap. I couldn't let this pass me by. Ready for the reveal? What have we got? I'm intrigued. Wow, this top plate is so heavy. Oh, look at this. Copper heat dissipation, thermal pads on there. It's to dissipate the heat away. Look at that. Fantastic. That thing weighs an absolute ton, but how nicely made this is. Wow. Put that out of the way very carefully. You see the copper heat pipes in there, but they are literally using this whole chassis to dissipate the heat. Wow. So we can see our RAM slots there. We've got two populated. Alright, we got two 2 gig sticks DDR3 running at 1600. So we got 4 gig in here. This supports up to 8 gig. Okay, what else is notable in here? So we've got a connector on the back here for remote on-off switch. That's quite handy. It does have power switch. Oh, there we go. Power switch on the front of the unit there. So interestingly, it does have a fan header. So even though this is a fanless design, I wonder whether that was an option or whether they used this board in other applications. Interesting. Some other mystery headers here that aren't labelled. You've got JP1, JP3 there. These are GPIO and COM port. So you've got more connections here, CN8, CN14. They're not labelled what they are. We've got one here which is labelled as a backlight connector. Interesting. CMOS battery obviously there. So you've got the CMOS jumper here if you need to clear the CMOS. Power connector there for the board. So you can use a separate power supply and use the 4-pin connector there, or you can use an external power supply, which is what I've got with this, which just plugs in on the back here. This is very versatile. So I'm not seeing the SATA connections. I'm guessing they're on the bottom of the board. So we're going to have to get the bottom off and have a look. We've got a clue as to how old this is by the code on this sticker here. It says AM BIOS 1999. So it's not mega old, this. Okay, I reckon we need to have a look on the other side then. See what we've got on the other side. Let's pop this back on. Right, let's have a look what we've got in the other side. I'm just going to put a couple of screws back in because I don't think there's anything I need to do in that end at the moment. I don't want to put all the screws back in case I do need to reseat the RAM. So, just a couple of screws in the top for now. With anything PC related, never put all the screws back in until you're sure it's going to work. Oh, these are a different size. Of course they are. Are these just a size up? I think they're actually 2 sizes up. Yeah. Wow, okay. I thought it was too easy. That one really did not want to come out. Right, let's have a look. Oh no, there's one more there. What am I doing? Right, let's have a look. What do we have? Ah, right, here's our SATA connectors. Okay, fantastic. There's more SATA connectors than I was led to believe. I thought you could only put one drive in this, but it looks like we've got 3 different SATA connections there. So instead of the normal like Molex connectors you would expect, you've got these SATA Dom. So I think we're going to have to make a modified power cable to be able to run our SSD. Okay, this could be interesting. Oh, this is where our PCI cards go. We've got one PCI slot and one PCIe underneath here. So this is what we'll need. We can plug our hard drive in here, but first I'm going to need to make up a converter cable. So I can run from this SATA Dom power connector. Okay, interesting. Right, we're going to need to make a cable up for this. Okay, so the CFast is for a external card reader. Let's be nosy. Is this? I think this is aluminium as well. I think the whole thing is aluminium. So well built. Oh yeah. So you've got CFast card reader slot there, and you've got a SIM slot there as well. I see. Push that in to release. You can pop your SIM card in there. It's got a lot going for it, this. External card reader is probably not something that's going to be that useful for me. So let's pop this cover back on. All we've got to do now is make up one of these converter cables, find an SSD, and see if this boots. Okay, so I've got all my bits that I need. I've got an SSD with SATA cable. I've got an old Dell cradle that I'm going to cut down to fit in here because the original cradle is gone and I don't want my SSD just rattling around. This is expendable. I've got loads of these kicking around. So what else do I need? 2-pin connection for the SATA Dom and a power cable that I can sacrifice and chop up, because we only need the 5V for this and a ground, which we can put into the SATA Dom connection there, which would have been for the disc on module, but we don't want to use those because they're a little bit unreliable. So let's go with this good old Kingston SSD, will do the job. So I've got a bunch of these cables kicking around, so I'm not too worried about sacrificing this one. Don't need to make it massively long, so I'll leave a little bit of length on there because we might want to reuse that Molex connector for something. Now, I'm sure you'll tell me there's many other ways of doing this. You can buy a properly made up cable for a couple of quid, but I don't have one in stock and I'd like to get on with this project, so I'm just going to make one. Right, now I'm going to remove this because we don't need this 12V. I'm not running a mechanical drive, I'm running an SSD, so we're not going to use the 12V. And then all we're going to do is we're going to connect the 5V to the 5V on the SATA Dom, and then just connect the two grounds to the ground. Okay. Right, we're back, and I've just soldered this together. Right, let's get this heat shrink down. Hot air station makes life easy. Of course, we could go and buy a cable, but where's the fun in that? Right, there we go. Perfect. That'll do nicely. Right, let's get that in. PC back. Now, I've decided in the end that I'm not going to use that cradle. It's a little bit overkill. I'm just going to Velcro this in as it was Velcroed in its last computer. So I've already got my SATA cable in. Let's pop my power cable in. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to connect our SATA Dom. Great. And SATA connection to there. Lovely. This cable's a little bit overkill, but it'll be alright. It will do. It's not going anywhere, is it? Right, so let's put the base back on. And we're going to see if we can get this to boot. I think I've got this the wrong way around, have I? Ah! Now, it only goes on one way round, otherwise it doesn't line up with the screws. Now, I'm only going to put a couple of screws in, just in case I have to open this up again. Computing law states that if you put all the screws back in the case, the thing won't boot. So let's just put a couple in. Alright, that's good enough for now. So I do have supplied with this the external power supply, the DIN style connector. This is supplying me with 19 volts at 6.32 amps. Even gives me the pin out there. That's useful because I could power this off the ATX connector, the 4-pin connector on the board. But as I've got this, let's give this a go. Okay, I've moved to the other side because I have slightly more room here. So what do I need? I need a monitor. Great, that'll do nicely. Right, I need my Nexcom Fanless PC. All I need now is a keyboard and a mouse. Just happen to have these Raspberry Pi ones handy, so I'll use those. And I need a monitor cable. This has got DisplayPort, so I can use this Ugreen DisplayPort cable that I've had in my drawer for a while. Fantastic. DisplayPort. Bingo. Ah, now I need the power supply, don't I, for this curious little DIN plug style thing, which goes in the back of the Nexcom. And we have a cloverleaf connector, I believe this is. So I would say when I look at any power supply, is it going to be a 2 or a 3? Last thing to do then is to plug in my keyboard and mouse. I could obviously plug them in on the back I/O, but just for a quick test. My only complaint about the Raspberry Pi mice is the short length of cable. I guess they expect you to have your Raspberry Pi right there. I think we're ready to go for a first boot. Got a little red light there, so it's alive. It's doing something. Okay, so let's hit the power button. Okay, we've got a green LED showing power. Unplugged into DisplayPort. Entering power save mode. That's never good. Maybe I'll try the other DisplayPort. No. Okay, DisplayPort didn't work, so let's go DVI-D. Let's go old school. If that fails, then I guess we're down to just VGA. Let's plug this in. Anything? No, entering power save. I've got no video coming out of this machine at all. Final resort, VGA. Surely you can't go wrong with VGA. We've been through everything else. This is my last attempt before I try a different monitor. Okay. Power? Hey, there we go. American Megatrends. Okay, well, it lets me into the BIOS. Okay. So the BIOS build date is 2013. 4 gig of RAM. Running at 1600 megahertz. Yeah. Right, we've got my SATA hard drive there, Kingston. Lovely. It's telling me there's one keyboard and one mouse. So it should work. Okay, so it boots into BIOS. It recognizes our SATA drive. Now, let's see if I can get it to boot to an OS. So, I have a USB drive here. Lots of beeps. Let's see if we can install some Ubuntu from this. Let's have a go. Right, boot option 1. SanDisk, please. Okay. Save and exit. Yep. Okay, right, now. It's very vocal, this. Oh, here we go, look. Looks promising. We're going to see if I can install Ubuntu onto the SATA drive. Checking disks. Check finished, no errors found. So it's recognizing the SATA drive nicely. The little cable modification then seems to have worked. Yes, there we go. That's pretty quick. I would like to install Ubuntu because I want to see if this drive's working properly. Okay, English UK for me, please. That would be great. Love Linux is just so simple, so quick to install. Means I haven't got to worry about Windows licenses and stuff. So what would you like? Normal installation. Normal installation is great. This is Ubuntu 20.04, I believe. It's by far not the most recent. This is Focal Fossa, but it's one I use a lot for testing purposes because I know it's stable, I know my way around it, it installs quick. It's not a problem. Right, I would like to erase this disk, yes, because there is nothing useful on this disk. Where are you? I ask myself this all the time. I'm going for London. Okay, today's password is beans because it's the first word that comes into my head. I don't know why. Do you know, it's not making bad progress. This is actually pretty good. I installed Ubuntu on a much newer computer than this the other day, and it was not this fast. Bear in mind, this is only a dual-core processor in here. A little old Intel i3. It's not doing too bad. Okay, great news. Installation is complete. Restart the computer. Fantastic. Restart now. Okay, let's reboot. It plays a jolly tune every time you reboot. So I've taken the USB key out, so it's definitely booting from the Kingston SATA drive that I put in. Okay, we're in. Right, I'm ready to go. Beautiful. Right, here we go. Look, we're in. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got memory, 3.7 gigabytes is shown. Processors Intel Core i3 3120ME CPU, so that's showing up okay. 2.40 gigahertz, although it's showing up as a 4-core. I thought this was a 2-core processor. Actually, we've done better than we thought. Got Intel HD Graphics 4000. Disk capacity 120 gig. That's the Kingston SATA drive that I put in there. And we're running Ubuntu 20.04 64-bit version with the GNOME desktop. 16 to 9. So we're on 1600 by 900. So that's the motherboard in there. That's interesting. So it's an N360 A014 30kh Chief River. Okay, so meanwhile, back in the BIOS, I just want to have a look at the hardware monitor to have a look at our thermals. So our CPU temperature is sitting at 41 degrees and our system temperature 36 degrees. That's not bad for a fanless PC. Obviously, we're not really pushed it. We did a little bit of benchmarking, but the heatsink's only slightly warm. It's not too bad at all, considering it's fanless. And it's very, very unusual, other than using a Raspberry Pi, to have a PC that is completely silent. Okay, so all we need to do is change our startup preferences for graphics in the BIOS, which we can do if we go to chipset. Now it's a bit buried, did take me a little while to find this. So you want to go to this system agent configuration and graphics configuration, and it's LCD control. There we go. So our primary boot display is showing a CRT. Now what that actually means is it's VGA. That explains why we could only get VGA out. And we want to have DisplayPort out because it has DisplayPort. We want to use our lovely DisplayPort cable. And I should be able to change that here. There we go. So we've got CRT, which is VGA, DisplayPort 1, which is what I'm in. We've got LFP, DVI, and DisplayPort 2. I'm not 100% sure what LFP is. There could be some sort of internal connection for that, possibly. We won't worry about that. What we're looking for is DisplayPort 1. We would like it to boot to DisplayPort 1. Fantastic. Okay, let's give it a go. So we're going to exit out of that, save and exit, yes. Okay, proof of concept, VGA cable is out. So let's go for another boot. Now the default is DisplayPort DP1, which is what we're on. There we go. Okay, it has rescaled my desktop, so we need to pop that back to 1600 by 900 and select the Dell 19-inch single desktop. There we go. Perfect. Keep these display settings, yeah, keep changes. There we go. All right, fantastic. Now, the absolutely best bit about this, apart from the rather pleasingly machined aluminium heatsink, I think it looks fantastic, is the price. Now, I found this on eBay. There was an eBay seller that had a whole batch of these, and they were selling them 2 units for £40. So I had a word with the good people at the IT office next door, because I didn't really want 2 of these, and we split it down the middle. So we had one each, £20 each. So £20 for a fully working PC, an old SSD I had kicking around, and a bit of a cable modification. I got myself a nice little working computer. Never really looked at these units that are designed for commercial or industrial applications, but it does seem there's bargains to be had out there. And I've rather enjoyed taking a look at this one. I'm sure it will come in very handy around here. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, taking a look at this little Nexcom PC. Many thanks to everyone for watching, sharing, liking, commenting and subscribing. It's always massively appreciated. I'll be back soon with some more videos on test gear repairs, electronics kits and retro gaming. In the meantime, take care and I'll see you on the next one.